this video, I'm working the fall leaves pattern. It's one of our new beaded earrings kits that are just released, and you can find all of this series by visiting our blog, blog.johnbead.com, and see the other styles. The one that I'm working through today, step by step, in today's video is the fall leaves pattern. That pattern is a really beautiful, I decided it looked like a leaf, but you know, it actually kind of could be a comet too. Doesn't it kind of look like a comet as well? I don't know. I was just playing and thinking it could be so many great things. So in this design, there is, it's mostly decreasing brick stitch with some indent. So meaning the next bead you build into isn't the direct like bead that's you would normally have one stepping stairs, right? So in this case, let me show you again. It kind of, you'll have spaces where you have to kind of weave back. And I am going to start this from the widest row and the row above it using the single column peyote stitch technique. But notice when we get to the end here, there's an area where we're going to have to do a large increase. So, and in addition, each of these color D beads is a not a seed bead, it is an accent bead. So it is a little cube, and it looks like this compared to a seed bead, which is one of these. See, so there is a little difference in size, which makes the technique a little more focused on getting things to line up. It's not hard, but we're going to go through it step by step. This is one of our more advanced kits, though. I wanted to make sure and just mention that. But don't let that scare you from trying it, because it's really a beautiful result and worth the extra, steps that we've got to go and complete. So the kit has all of the beads you need, finding some thread, including ear wires, jump rings, and of course those little accent beads they're going to be in your little bag with the findings. So get your beads out and lay them out in order. In the pattern, I've got the color A is the pink bead, color B is the orange bead, and color C is this beautiful blue rainbowy iris bead. It's got so much sparkle. And then in the pattern, it also says color D. And color D again is these little cube shapes, metal beads. So all those together. All right, so this one, it doesn't really need that much thread, but go ahead and give yourself at least, I don't know, you want to have a couple of reasons I have been saying to go a little long on the thread is because when you get to starting to work, sometimes two things happen. One is my needle slides off the end if I don't have a lot folded over, so because it's really pretty slicky thread. The other thing is that if you want to strengthen and have extra weave in, it's really handy to have that extra length, and it's better to have it than not, because on these designs are not large, so weaving in and out is possible, but it's going to add a lot of bulk that you might not want. So and the thread does not show until you start making 4 or 5 passes, and then you've got turns might show, things like that. So 60 inches I would say, even though that's probably more than you need, just so you have room to weave around. All right, so I cut about 60 inches. It's probably maybe more like 55 inches. It doesn't need to be precise, just enough. I kind of just did a wingspan. That's what I usually start with. And then the needle that I'm threading right now is a size 11 beading needle. And so I'm pulling over about 10 inches of thread and folding it at the needle. And then I'm going to, from here, even with it folded over, just kind of identify a little spot in the middle. Leave at least 20 inches of tail, 20, 25 or so. And that will work the bottom half of your pattern. To work the top half of your pattern, we're going to start from the widest row, and we're going to work that row and the row above it. So one more time, this is the widest row right here, and we'll work the row above it together in single column peyote. So we'll string A, and B, and then go back through the A. So let's do that really quick. All right, so here's the first 3 beads. There's 2A and 1 B bead. And again, just slide that down to leave about, 20, 25 inches of a tail there. It doesn't have to be precise, just leave enough that you can work the bottom half of the pattern with the tail thread. So let's see, I'm gonna go like right about there, all right? And so there's those 3 beads. I'm going back through the first A bead that we strung. Just kind of pinch it all in position, hold it tight, and then pull the working and tail thread apart, and you'll get the peyote stitch start. See that little pop right there? And that's what you're going for. And then just wrap the tail around your finger once or twice, and grab the work that we just did here, and just pinch it. Pinch it in between your finger and thumb to hold it tight. And we're going to add each new bead through that up bead. And the up bead is the one that is the B bead right there. See that? And so our next bead that we're going to add is another B. And I'm just going right off the pattern. And on your pattern, these 2 rows will be highlighted to show you exactly which ones to stitch next. I just want to show you what we're doing here. There we go. Here's the next B bead. So just keep going from this spot all the way to, we just did these beads here. Keep going until you get to right here. So here I've highlighted the row that I'm working. This is the single column peyote stitch row. And what I did to just kind of help me keep track, since it is a really long, really long strand of work, is I just counted the number of B beads, the number of A, so 4B, 5A. And then here I did 5C, and then I did the first 2C. Let me show you. So all of those. And now what we need to do next is add the D bead. And then we have to do something else here to ladder this out. So let me start showing the D bead. It is a metal bead, right? Go down through the up beads. This is the same thing we've been doing, single column peyote. Just building the same brick stitch pattern. So just like that. And now I'm going to pick up the next bead in the pattern, which is the D bead, or the C bead. Should go underneath. All right. And now we're out of beads in the top. So the D bead was the last bead in my top row. Let me set it down. Let's bring this right back over. Okay, and so you see how the D bead right here, this one was the last bead, and then I brought that C up underneath it, so I'm exiting out of that D bead now. I still need to complete these 2 C's and that D. So I'm going to weave around and then do some laddering to add that. So we still need to add 2 more C's and then a D bead at the bottom. So let me show you what I'm going to do to get there. From where I am here, there's our piece. So go back through the adjacent C bead in the top row. Just get through right there. And then go ahead and go through the second C bead that is in from the edge there on the bottom row. Oops. So see, we just went through the second C bead that's in from the bottom row. And I'm going to turn and come up through the edge C bead. And from here, I'm going to ladder stitch 1 C, okay, so there's that one. Let's add 1 more. And come up through that bead. And now we need our D bead, which is the metal gold bead. And go ahead and just ladder stitch that right to the bottom here, just like we've been doing. So just pull that tight and then loop through. So there's the first part of that ladder stitch right there. Next thing you're going to want to do is get back over to here. And then we're going to try to exit from one bead in from the end there. So let me show you how to get there. We're just going to basically just weave through, kind of reversing what we've done. So just going back through this last bead here, and pull tight. And then right here, down to the adjacent bead right here, and then up through both beads. So what happened here is I actually ended up going through this last C bead here. It's like the third one up. And then if your needle goes right through that D bead, great. We're headed that way anyway. And then go ahead and turn and come down through the next C bead in the top row and exit from that one right there. So that's what we're going for. Get yourself to that spot. So in the next row, the first two thread bridges, those are left behind unworked. So that's why we weave to enter, or exit, sorry, from the second bead in from the gold bead. So just this third one in from the top row right here. Once you get there, you will need to pick up one more of the B beads. That's that golden metal bead, and then another C bead. So the blue iris. So get those two beads on the needle. And needle under the second thread bridge from the bead we're exiting. So we're exiting from, see that bead right there? So I'm going to go under the thread bridge. That's the one right after it. So just right there, and pull through. Go up through the blue bead, second bead there. And it's going to sit a little sideways, just like it would if it was a seed bead. It's doing the same thing it always would do. So go back down through it and come up through the C bead. So just like that. And if you do that, it will tighten it up. And the other thing you can do if it's still sitting to the side like that, see how mine is? Once you pull tight, that should fix it, but if it doesn't, just go back down through it. Just your needle, and then just go ahead and adjust it one more time. All right. There we go. Now that little gap is gone. So that's why the only reason I label this one as more advanced, because getting those beads to be side by side is a little tricky, but you can do it. And so it takes a little bit of maneuvering. Once you've got it like that, pull really tight and keep it in its spot. And let's work the rest of the row. So the rest of the row is just good old brick stitch. We're going to complete a total of 5 C beads. This is all in the pattern. So we've got one already. Here's the second one. And just go ahead and work that all the way to the end of the row with one bead at a time under each thread bridge. There we go. That's worked all the way to the end of the row. And what you're seeing here at this side, this extra strand here, that was our tail thread that we left at the beginning when we created the single column peyote start. So I'm going to go ahead and just throw a needle on there and weave that in. I want it to exit from the bottom part of it. So right now it's coming out of, hang on one sec, it's coming out of this bead. This one right here. So I'm going to go through the adjacent bead there. Should tighten it up really nicely. Right now it's a little loose. It was a little loose getting this one on. So if you want, you can even do that before your row back reaches it, just to tighten up that thread bridge. You're going to need to use it. So I'm going to go through the next bead down. I went through the third bead in, and I'm going to weave back this way up through this one. My goal right now is to get to the edge bead in the bottom row. One more. Okay. There we go. So once you've got your got your thread out of the side bead there, you can switch back and focus again on the working side. So we just finished the third row. So we're currently exiting from that bead, and we'll just pick up 2A, go under the second thread bridge, and let's work that row all the way back to this side here. So again, that's 2A. And this is going to be a regular decrease. So you want to get under the second thread bridge, bring the needle through, and back up through the second bead. And I'm just tightening up that's the first and second bead here. Just going back through them to make them tighter. Okay. And we need 2 more A. So we're going to do one at a time now. 1A. One more. And I need 5C. So let's just do the next 5C. There we go. The last bead in this row is another one of the metal color D beads. All right. And just take a look at the pattern one more time. We need to do from there, we need to weave in a little bit. So what we've got is we just finished that row right there, the 4A, 5C, there's our D, and we need to get to where we can exit from that third C. So I'm just gonna go from here out of this bead down to the C and back up to the adjacent C. All right, now we need to do another, it's basically the same thing, it's a decrease start, but we're going to have to start it with one of the metal beads. So it's a D bead and a C bead. And from the one you're exiting, which will be this third one in, you want to skip the next thread bridge and go through the one after that. So from the bead you're exiting, skip the next thread bridge, go through the next one. That's really the only tricky part, is just spotting that, right? It's not too bad. And if it does that to you where it's kind of popped up like that, go ahead and go back down through the D bead and up the C bead. You'll probably need to help it a little bit. See how I kind of helped it turn that way and then pull tight. All right, finish the row this way. There we go, I worked that right to the end. And all that's left to do is one more row. And in that row is the same way. We're gonna start with a regular decrease, starting with an A and a C. And from where you're exiting out of that A, again, it's just that second thread bridge. Oops. Tail thread. All right, there we go. And then you want to add one more C. And last but not least, another D. So there you go. That concludes the top of the pattern. So from here, all you need to do is weave in, and I'll go ahead and show weaving in on this side. And then all we have left to do after that is mirror what we've done on this side with this side using the tail thread. So to weave in, just bring your needle down through the adjacent bead from the one you're exiting and make a few trips through the beads. So from here, it's going to make a few little turns. Get down to the next bead though. Let's go down here. So just a little zip around, and then you can trim it. And to trim it, pull on the thread and push down with your scissors. And there we go. All right, so tail side. Finding a needle really quick. Here's my needle. I'm just going to very quickly thread my tail side. And from here, it is the same exact thing we did before. I'm going to bring the pattern over. So we finished all of that. That's all done. So what I like to do is I like to turn my work upside down. And then I will just go ahead and work the pattern from that bottom row there. All you've got to do is just start working the rows in the same way we worked this side. It'll start with a regular decrease row with an A and a B bead right out of that A bead where your tail is exiting. There we go. And the cool thing about working this side is you have the confidence markers, right? You can see where when you're ending that bead that it's matching where the last one is from the mirrored row there at the bottom. So I just added that last D bead, regular 1-for-1 brick stitch going all the way down. And so once again, I'm going to indent. So I need to go back through that bead right there. And then up through the next one. And that's all you got to do to get where you need to be. Then you pick up your next bead, which in this case is a D and a C. One middle bead and then one of those iris blue. And from the bead you're exiting, you want to go through the second thread bridge. Regular decrease. And you'll probably end up with a little bit of a sideways bead, so just go back through it. So there you go. Okay, so all you got to do from here is just finish this row up here, finish the row back, and mirror everything we've done on this side, just the same way we've been working it. There you go. That's all there is to it. Let's weave in. All right, so once you've got everything woven in and your piece is finished, all we have to do is put an ear wire on it. And so the trick to doing that is you'll just want to grab some chain nose and bent nose pliers. I'm using a, actually this is the wrong one. Let me grab the right one. This will work too, but I really like using my square nose, which is a little bit wider than a regular chain nose plier. They give you a little more to hold on to for the jump ring. And for the jump rings, let's grab my findings really quick. Your kit will have these little tiny jump rings in there. So what I do is I find the seam and then just pinch one side. You see the seam there at the top? And with my bent nose pliers, I'm going to open up the jump ring in just a lateral motion. So that's just bending your wrist forward. There's that. And then this is another one of those, go slowly and just test it out. Make sure that you're not breaking your bead. One side of your jump ring might go in easier than the other side. So that one went through pretty smoothly for me. And just before I close it, I'm going to come over here and grab an ear wire. And these ear wires have a little hoop on the front. Bring that on and close my jump ring. So that's how you make the fall leaves earrings. And again, the beautiful kit has everything you need in it, including thread, ear wires, all those little beads. And the pattern is downloadable in the description to this video. If you don't already have it printed, you go print that out. It has all the steps that I covered in today's video. And so you just need to make your second one and you got it. And I want to wish you happy beading. Be sure to check out the other kits.